In September 2024, Anna Sawai stepped onto the Emmy stage to accept the award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. It was a milestone for the industry. No actor of Asian descent had ever won the category before. She was in tears before her name was even called. Her reaction stood in sharp contrast to the typical Hollywood pedigree. Her path hadn't started in prestigious Western drama schools, but in a very different kind of training ground. This moment of total creative triumph was the result of a decade spent in an environment that actively tried to suppress her individuality. Her success wasn't born from Hollywood tradition, but from a break with it. Her victory marks the end of a long psychological rebellion. To get here, she had to spend her late 20s dismantling the habits of her youth, reclaiming a voice that had been silenced for 10 years. Before Shōgun, Sawai was known in Japan as the lead vocalist of the pop group FAKY. Joining at age 20, she became a central figure in a musical project that would define the next half-decade of her life. To reach that level, she endured what the industry calls J-pop boot camp. It's a grueling program that demands extreme physical and mental discipline, prioritizing manufactured uniformity over her individual expression. The psychological cost was high. For 10 years, her agency gave her a specific mandate: listen more than you speak. Over time, being told to stay quiet and follow orders eroded her self-confidence, leaving her feeling like she was no longer in control of her own career. By 2018, she realized she had to leave. She stepped down from the group and abandoned the Japanese music industry entirely, choosing to move towards acting as a way to find her own instincts and start her professional life over. Sawai applied the same discipline she'd learned in Tokyo to land roles in Western media. She quickly secured spots in Fast 9 and Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, using each set to learn how to advocate for her own creative choices. These projects served as a laboratory for rebuilding her confidence. Surrounded by teams that encouraged her input, she began this slow process of trusting her own artistic voice again. That progress led her to Shōgun. Set in 1600s feudal Japan, the series depicts a deeply patriarchal society where women were expected to be subservient to the men who controlled their lives. Sawai was cast as Lady Toda Mariko, a character bound by duty and a tragic family history. Mariko is a woman trapped by her circumstances, forbidden by her husband from seeking the release she desperately wants. Sawai reached into her own decade of forced obedience to portray Mariko's quiet resistance. She drew from the same psychological fatigue she was working to shed in her own life, turning her history of being silenced into her character's greatest strength. This psychological foundation was supported by something more physical. The very idol system Sawai fled had built the literal muscle memory required to succeed on an action-heavy Hollywood set. Her years at the Avex Artist Academy included mandatory action training, a mix of gymnastics and martial arts. While intended to create a pop idol, this training gave her a massive advantage when she started performing her own stunts. That training was put to the test in the show's 9th episode. Sawai had to execute a complex spear fight that required immense physical precision and a deep understanding of traditional combat techniques. She returned to Japan to train with master martial artists, eventually earning high marks for accuracy from samurai historians. Her ability to handle the naginata was so grounded that experts cited it as a standout example of historical realism. She didn't just leave her past behind, she used the intense discipline it taught her as a weapon. She forged the restrictive training of her youth into a physically demanding, award-winning performance. Historically, Hollywood has often pushed Asian women into the background, frequently relying on narrow tropes that sexualize or diminish their individual agency. Sawai's portrayal of Mariko offered a replacement for those caricatures. She presented a complex, sovereign human who used her intelligence and linguistic skills to navigate a world that tried to box her in. The impact was felt most clearly during the press tour. Japanese audiences, particularly young women, expressed that for the first time they saw a character on an international stage that finally felt completely authentic to their own personal experience. This performance established a new precedent for how Asian female characters are written and perceived in Western media. It proved that these stories are most powerful when they are allowed to be deeply specific and human. The industry response was immediate. Time magazine placed her on the Time 100 Next list, where her co-star Hiroyuki Sanada noted her ability to lead stories in any era, from traditional period pieces to the far future. Her career trajectory has only accelerated since, with a Golden Globe win and a return to the lead role in Monarch. She has moved from a member of a choreographed group to a solo leader in the industry. The theme of her journey is one of reclamation. By choosing to unlearn the rules that once kept her silent, she found a voice that resonates far beyond the Japanese pop charts. Anna Sawai's success shows that a decade of being told to stay quiet doesn't have to define a person's future. By trusting her own instincts, she didn't just find a rule.